Hello, hello. I have a word today for you about obedience. I was reading in the 19th chapter of Genesis, and this is the story where the Lord sends 3 angels to Lot as he's living in Sodom to warn him that God is going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because it is so wicked, and he could not find even 10 righteous people that lived there. And so they warn Lot to leave the city and to take his family with him. And he goes to tell his sons-in-law that the Lord's going to destroy the city. And they thought he was joking. They wouldn't go. So in Genesis 19, the 15th verse, 16th verse, we find Lot is continuing to linger. And so these angels took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, because the Lord is merciful. And he took them outside of the city. They led them outside of the city. And then told him, "Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be destroyed." Well, Lot is still being reluctant, and he doesn't want to go to the mountains. And he sees this tiny town of Zoar, and he says to them, "Look, here's just this little tiny town over here. Can't I just go over here? Can you spare this little town and let me go be there?" And they said, "Okay, I'll give you this one." He says in verse 21, the angel said to him, "See, I have favored you concerning this thing also, in that I will not overthrow this city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there." So Lot takes his family and they run to Zoar. And as soon as they enter the city of Zoar, the Lord rains fire and brimstone down on Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities of the plain, sparing Zoar, but the other cities are destroyed. And it says, "But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt." They were warned to not look back. Jesus Christ told us, put your hand to the plow and don't look back. Set your focus on what's right and go for it. Don't look back. Well, she did, and she became a pillar of salt. And here's the really interesting part. The angels agreed to spare Zoar and allowed Lot this boon to let him run to this tiny little town. But then he lost his wife because she looked back. But in the shock of it all, he became afraid to stay in Zoar. And where did he go? He fled to the mountains. The thought crossed my mind, and we will never know. This is speculation on my part, but isn't it possible that his wife might have survived if he would have obeyed in the first place and done what God told him to do, rather than bargaining with God and asking for concessions? You see, my friend, God knows best. He knows the shortcuts. He knows how to collapse time for us and get us farther ahead. But we, in our human wisdom, try to bargain with God because we can't see the sense. Lot did not step out in faith by going to the mountains because he was told to go to the mountains. How many times have we done that, where we bargain with God? "Oh, Lord, that doesn't make sense. Why would I go that far? Can't I just go to this little place? It's so much closer. It's so much easier. Can't I just do this instead?" And how many blessings have we missed out on because we did not do what we were told to do the first time? So Lot ended up in the mountains anyways, which becomes a whole nother story with his wife not there and his daughters thinking that all the men in the world have been killed. They decide to get their father drunk. They lay with him in an incestuous relationship, and they both conceived. And their sons became the fathers of the Ammonites and the Moabites. That might have been very differently. That might have come out very differently if Lot had just been obedient and done what he was supposed to do in the first place and kept his family intact. We don't know. But the truth of the matter remains. Obedience is so key. And when the Lord calls us to do something, it's so important to step out in faith and to do that and not look for an easier alternative. That's my word for you today. A little bit longer than normal, but so critical and so important. I encourage you today to implement this in your life, to listen to the voice of the Lord. Call to him. Ask him what to do. Ask him what you're supposed to do. Listen to the still small voice that comes when he talks back to you, when he answers you. And do what he says to do. Because our wisdom is never up to snuff. It's never as good as what the Lord tells us to do in the first place, even when it doesn't make sense. God is good. Like my hat says, God is good. I love you guys, and so does God. I hope you have a blessed day. Take care.